headshot! Boom, headshot! I can dance all day! I can dance all day! Try to hit me!
Talk about a last-second shake-up meet. We were supposed to be having Nassourdine Imavov take on Kelvin Gastelum at 185. A fight where we were watching interviews from Kelvin yesterday, and he seemed like he was doing great, but Kelvin's out suddenly. Insert Sean Strickland and make it a 205 contest, because now these guys are going to have to cut weight and they're just going to show up and scrap. And to tell you what, Mead, I'm all for it. I was definitely looking forward to seeing if Imavov was able to add Kelvin to his list of victims, but I'm even more excited to see if he can do it against Sean Strickland, because I think that if Sean Strickland fought Kelvin at this point in their career, that Sean would likely destroy him. So I think this is even a more difficult test for Imavov, and we'll see if he can pass it with flying colors, because this is a guy who noticeably keeps improving, right? Ever since he lost that majority decision to Phil Hawes back in early 2021, it seems as though he's just been leveling up after leveling up session, because he smoked Ian Heinisch, right? Finished him in the second round. He smoked Edmund Shabazibum. That was easy work. And then most recently he beat Joaquin Buckley. And while that was a fight where the third round it got a little bit sketchy for Imavov, it was a nice, complete performance from the French fighter in that one, and very impressive stuff. So it got him to 4-1 in the UFC, 12-3 overall, and he's now taking on Sean Strickland, who, believe it or not, the last time we uploaded, the last time the UFC featured a card, Sean Strickland was at the top. So I gotta imagine this is some sort of record meet, right? Like, when have we ever seen a guy back-to-back straight meet events? I gotta imagine Sean Strickland's gonna be the first one to ever do that, but it's gonna be good for him, because he's definitely trying to get that bad taste out of his mouth, because he thought, and I know a lot of people did as well, that he should have won that split decision over Jared Cannonier. And granted, that was a very close fight. Could have gone either way, but Sean was clearly visibly frustrated when that result was announced. And I think that as soon as Kelvin pulled out of this fight, Sean probably was setting up the matchmaking himself, because he seems like kind of a, he's got a little bit of a screw loose. And if anyone wants to make the wrong right and as quickly as possible, it's going to be Sean Strickland, and Imavov is a winnable opponent for him to get this done against. So what are your thoughts on the shakeup? Any added insight on the fact that this fight's going to be at 205, and who are you taking ultimately in this one?
Yeah, this is an absolute banger, and like you said, I agree. I think this is a harder levels test than Mr. Cheeto Boy Kelvin Gastelum, and I think the Russian sniper is still going to get it done, though. I think that highly of him for two reasons. One, I think he's the real deal, but also Sean Strickland, weak notice, and at 205. I mean, unless Sean's looking extra beefy and he's feeling good and he's been ripping hard in the gym, which I know he is, but to prepare in 1 week for a certain style of fighter, I mean, I don't know. The odds are not in his side. Now, if he had 6 months to train for this guy specifically, maybe I would put 50-50. Sean has a better chance, but I just don't see, the odds are not in Sean's favor. Sean's either that guy or he's not, and I don't think he's that guy. I think the Russian sniper is going to make light work, and honestly, I think he's going to do what Pereira did and knock him out first or second round.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't be the craziest thing. Imavov is a guy who is demonstrating just increasing power as the experience is accrued, and perhaps he's able to do what Pereira did, but I don't know. I think Pereira has that sort of one-punch lethal power, that touch you and you go to sleep type power, and I don't know if Imavov possesses that same punch, despite having definitely improved his stand-up throughout these last few years. And I was interested to note how the line opened up. Imavov was a slight favorite. Now some action is coming in on Sean Strickland. This fight is, it was announced 8 hours ago, though, so who knows what the line is going to look like by the time the fight happens. If you look at Tapology, though, and again, a small sample size, but 53% is rolling with Strickland. Majority is a decision. 47%, meanwhile, is rolling with Imavov, and there's more Brown KO for Imavov than there is for Sean Strickland, which I kind of find surprising, because I do think that if Imavov starts to fade again, similar to how he did in the third round against Joaquin Buckley, if this thing goes in the fourth and fifth round, Strickland as a guy who, I mean, and granted, these are always with full camps, but Strickland as a guy who has an unlimited gas tank. He's just throwing out those Nick Diaz-style peppering little punches that accumulate. And if Imavov starts to fade in that third round, I think that a KO TKO might not be the craziest thing ever for Sean in the fourth and or fifth round. So I actually think that Strickland has a better chance of winning by KO than Imavov did. So that's the one area of Tapology that I was kind of just taken aback by. But do you think that Imavov is the fact that this is a 5-round fight against a guy with a just totally different set of skills, is that going to do Imavov a disservice, or do you just think that because he was already in camp, he's been preparing for this battle, that he's going to be in the proper shape that you don't think Strickland can match? Is that how you're seeing it?
Yeah, I think honestly both of these guys, they're not training for each other, right? It's kind of, I mean, they're both on 1 week's notice, except Imavov has, months of, training camp for a fight, while Sean Strickland is just, I think, casually training. He's not, I'm sure, I would guess and imagine Sean Strickland trains way different, way more intense, way harder cardio when he's preparing for a real fight versus going to training and learning a little bit here and there every day, and then waiting to book a fight. He booked a fight. Now he's got 1 week to really buckle down that cardio. I think Imavov should have the better gas tank, the better volume, the better everything. If he doesn't, Imavov sucks. I'm sorry. Like if he doesn't pull through, this is just, everything is aligning for Imavov to get to that top three, those top three guys, because Dana White is sick and tired of seeing, Izzy versus Whitaker, Izzy versus Pereira, because Pereira's going to knock out Izzy again, and then it's Izzy versus Pereira 3, then he gets knocked out again. So it's like, it's Whitaker, Izzy, Pereira, and we need some fresh new blood, and I think this might be that guy. So I'm super excited. He should have the better cardio, but I don't know, Sean's a freak. He's always prepared, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that Imavov might have some advantages, but when you keep touching on gas tank and cardio, I don't know, Meat. I just do wonder if even Sean Strickland off the couch is going to have a better gas tank than Imavov. But only time will tell for sure. And I guess one thing that I'm encouraged by as someone who's, I'm giving away, picking Sean Strickland in this fight, I mean, the guys that he's training with, I mean, this is a guy who is unafraid to get rounds in with Magomed Ankalaev. I mean, he's a guy who is always training with dudes bigger than him. We know that he's historically a longtime partner of Marvin Vettori. So I just think that anywhere from 170 to 205, Strickland is going to give those guys a tough fight because he's tough as nails. He has cardio for days, and he's got those nice punches, and he's able to land them in flurries on most of his opponents. So I think he does the same thing to Imavov. I think maybe it's dangerous a little early. Perhaps Imavov wins the early rounds, but I think there's going to be a moment in the fight where we see Imavov start to fade a little bit. He's going to be wondering why the heck this guy is still around, and once we see that look in his eyes, Strickland's going to capitalize, and I'm going to go Strickland by a late finish. I really think that he's going to get this one done over Nassourdine Imavov. However, if Imavov gets this one done, then to your point, you got to fast track this guy, and it's definitely some excitement, some new blood at middleweight, which is something that the promotion has kind of, I don't want to say it's been lacking, but there is just those top two, top three guys in this division, and no one has really been able to insert themselves into the conversation. So my point being, if Imavov is able to get this done over Sean Strickland, you got to throw him in there as well for sure. But I'm going Sean Strickland, and I hope that if he, with all this respect that we're paying to Imavov, I hope that if Strickland gets this one done against him, you too will give Sean Strickland his flowers, but maybe that's a pipe dream. Any last thoughts?
No, this is a great matchup, fun fight. Throw the comments, who you taking? Are you taking Strickland or the Russian Sniper?